So today we're going to be talking about dried plant material. So dried herbs is the normal way that most people will be familiar with herbs, or people who use herbs. This is how they buy them in. If you're growing and drying your own, then some of this information is still useful for you, because it is really important to be able to check the quality of the plant material, make sure that you've not got any infestations of little insects, make sure that you haven't got mold growing in the dried plant material. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that and the best way to check for quality and the best way of storing dried herbs. So the first thing to do when you receive your bag of herbs is to just check the colour. Is that the colour of the herb that you have ordered? So in this case we're looking at calendula. It should be a lovely bright orange colour, as bright orange as you can get. Not really faded to a pale yellow. So that's what we'd be looking for in this case. In this batch we've also got large flower heads, so you can actually identify the plant to make sure that you haven't got any contamination. It's not been adulterated. You're not looking at another herb that's been added in to this dried herb to bulk it out. We can see that it is clearly just calendula flower heads and the calendula petals. We haven't got any leaves in here, that it is exactly what it's supposed to be. The next thing to check would be what sort of quality. Now this is difficult to show on a video, but the feel of it shouldn't be powdery, it should feel firm, it shouldn't crumble in your hands. That would be a sign that it is quite old and that it could have actually been over dried if it just crumbles up into dust, which you can see that we don't have any dust in here, it's just petals and flower heads. So that's an important point to check. The other thing we need to check for is that it doesn't have any mites. Now, I mean, you could just take a look at the bottom of the bag and see if you've got any little creatures in the bottom of the bag. Usually you'll see them after a while, they'll start to crawl against the plastic. You could leave a small amount in a bowl and then see if they start to climb up the side. Now if you've got a good supplier, really you shouldn't be having any kind of little creatures in your dried plant material, but if you're drying it at home they might still be on there, so it's a good thing to do a little bit of a test, leave it in there and see if you do get anything moving around. Now the other point is mould. We want this plant material to be as dry as possible. If there's any water in here at all, any moisture, it's going to cause mould. Mould will grow and the whole of this, the plant material will be contaminated and you'll need to get rid of it. Now the best way, I mean, I can just feel in here that there isn't any moisture in here. There's not been any moisture in this bag. So at this point I'm taking it that this is completely dried and I don't need to do anything with it. So what I would do is I would just transfer it into a glass jar, and if I was worried about mould, then I could check. So you can check for the smell. Obviously mould has quite a distinctive smell, so that's a good way of being able to check that. You can also see if there's any condensation on the inside of the glass. If there is any moisture in there, you will see it on the side, in which case you would need to get rid of that plant material because it would be contaminated and likely be growing mould. So that's it for dried herbs. Keep an eye out for mould. Make sure it looks how it should be. Make sure you haven't got any foreign plant material in there. No creatures, no mould, no moisture.